Hello everyone. All right. So in today's lesson, we are going to be talking about how to add fractions. But this time around, we are dealing with unlike denominators. You see fractions like this: 3/4 plus 5/8. We are dealing with unlike denominators now. So what do we do when you have fractions with unlike denominator? You're simply going to the first thing, make sure you have common denominators. Then you add the numerator, you keep the denominator, and then you simplify if needed. So it's almost like a step when you have denominators, but the first thing we need to do here is to find the common denominator. All right, let's get right into it. 3/4 plus 5/8. All we are going to do here is, because we want to find the common denominator, we are going to find the LCM of 4 and 8. So we can come over here, the LCM of 4 and 8. So the multiple of 4 are what? 4, 8, 12. And then the multiples of 8, 12 is, okay, yes. For the multiples of 8, you have 8, 16, 24, right? The lowest common multiple there is 8. So what we want to do now is to make 8 our denominator, so that, because the common denominator here is 8, so we want to make this denominator 8. That's why we refer back to equivalent fractions. So you are going to find the equivalent when this one has a denominator of 8. So we have something like this. Okay, let me do this here. 3/4 equal to dash over 8. So what can I multiply 4 by that will give you 8? So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So you're just going to multiply it by 2. And remember, with equivalent fractions, whatever you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So you have 3 times 2 up here too. 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 2 is 8. So the new fraction here that we are going to be working with is going to be 6/8. And remember, with equivalent fraction, they have the same value, just different numbers. So it's still going to mean the same thing. So now we have 6/8 plus 5/8. And then we can simply add the numerators. So we have 6 plus 5. What's 6 plus 5? That's 11. So we have 11 all over. You remember, we are keeping the denominator. So we have 11 all over 8. Simple. I'm going to work it out again, and you're going to stay with me. All right. So for this one, we have 2/3 plus 3/4. The denominator is different, right? And we want to work on that. We want to make sure the denominator is the same, so we can simply add the numerators. So what you are going to do again is to look for the LCM of 3 and 4. So multiples of 3, multiples of 4. 3, 6, 9, 12. Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12. So lowest common multiple here is 12. Now, remember the drill. We want to make sure this here is 12 and this is also 12, because we want to make everything equivalent. We want to have common denominators. So what are we simply going to do? We are going to do this with equivalent fractions. 2/3 equals dash all over 12. We're making the new denominator 12. And the same thing for this. So this is 3/4 equal to dash all over 12. And so you think, what can I multiply 3 by that will give you 12? 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12. So you say, remember, with equivalent fraction, whatever I do to the numerator, you do to the denominator too. So you have times 4. 4 times 2 now is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So that's what you have. All right, for this, what are we going to do? The same step. What can you multiply 4 by that will give you 12? And 4 times 3 is 12. You also do the same to the numerator too. So 3 times 3, that's 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Now you see this equivalence that we have found is what we are going to add together. So here we have, what's 3/4? The equivalent of 3/4, that's 8/12. And plus the equivalent of 3/4 here, that's 9/12. Remember, I'm not really mixing up the fractions. When I have 2/3, I found the equivalent, which is 8/12, and put it there. Plus 3/4, I found the equivalent, that's 9/12, and put it up here. So if I'm to add this, I'm going to have 8 plus 9 is what? That is what? 17 all over 12. This is also an improper fraction. You can decide to make this improper fraction into mixed fraction. What you are going to have is, if you decide to say, oh, I want to change this from the improper fraction that it is into mixed fraction, you're simply going to have something like this. 1 minute. Let me clean this off. All right. So if you change it into mixed fraction, how many 17 divided by 12 is what? That's 1, right? Remainder what? So that's going to be 1 remainder. I say 17 divided minus 12. 7 minus 2 is 5. So the remainder is 5. So this is 1 remainder 5. Now you know that when you are converting from improper fraction to mixed fraction, the denominator remains. So you're just simply going to have one whole number, 5 all over 12. So 1 whole, because you can get 1 whole from this 17 here. And then the remainder is 5, and the denominator stays. So this is what you have as your answer. All right, for this last one, quickly try it out and let me know your answer in the comment section. All right, so for this, you have 3 over 5 plus 4 over 7. What are we going to do? Now we already know the drill. We are going to make sure these two have the same denominator, right? And so in the process of trying to find denominator, we are going to use equivalent fractions. What we are going to do here is simply to look for the LCM first. The LCM of 3, okay, sorry, it's 5 and 7. Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. This is a large number, as you can see. All right. So the multiples of 7 now. We have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. The multiples of 7, these are. And the lowest common multiple is 35. So what do we want to do now? We want to make sure that both this and this has a common denominator of 35. How do we go about that? We find equivalence. Now, equivalent of, so let me clean this up. We now have our common denominator is equal to 35. I just want to write that down because I'm going to have to clean this all up. Okay, so to make all these have a common denominator of 35, what are we going to do? We are going to say 3 over 5 is equal to dash over 35. And then 4 over 7 is equal to dash over 35. So just the same way we have been dealing with equivalent fraction, you are going to think to yourself, what can you multiply 7 that will give you 35? And you know that 7 times 5 is 35. That's why you have to be good with your multiples. So you just do 7 times 5. And remember, what we are doing to the numerator, we are also doing to the denominator. So you multiply 4 by 5 up here. So overall, you have what? You have 20 all over 35. The same thing you are going to do with this. You have 3 over 5 equal to dash over 35. So you think to yourself, what can you multiply 5 by that will give you 35? That's 7. 5 times 7, 35. And then you multiply the numerator by 7 too. So this is 7 times 3, which is 21. So you have here 21 over 35 plus 20 over 35. The equivalent of 3 over 5 is 21 over 35. So which is 21 all over 35 plus equivalent of 4 over 7 plus 20 over 35. So you have 20 here over 35. And when you add up, you have 21 plus 20. What would I give you? That's 41. So you have 41 over 35. Now you can also convert to mixed fraction, right? This is an improper fraction. If you want to leave it in mixed fraction, you can have something like this. You can have 41 divided by 35. That's 1. You know, it's 1 O. But with how many remainders? How many remainders? Okay, so you can do 41 minus 35, which would be, you borrow 1 from here. This is 3, 11. So this would be 6. Remainder 6. At the same time, 1 remainder 6. That's also the same thing as 1 whole number, 6 over 35. Remember that the denominator is still the same. It's not changing. So that is that for adding with unlike denominators. So the thing you need to do, check the denominator. If they are not the same, you need to find their common denominator. Then you add the numerators together. You keep the denominator and you simplify it neatly, just like I did with this. You can decide to leave it in improper or you can make it a mixed fraction. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share to your friend that enjoys math. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.